Hello, Milwaukee. Welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Thank you for tuning in with us today. Some quick information for you before we get started. Simultaneous translations are available for you in Spanish. You can access it by dialing 646-749-3122. And then you can press the access code 779-328-221. Este show se encuentra translatados simultáneamente en español. Simplemente llama el número 646-749-3122 y oprima el código 779-328-221. You can also find a link to recorded English and Spanish versions of this episode and all of our episodes on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Let me introduce myself. My name is Carlos. I am the Data and Canvassing Coordinator for SOC and a member of the SOC Civic team. I will be moderating today's forum. Also helping with the forum is our forum team, Marisol, Maria, and Marlene. If you need to speak to any of our organizers for whatever reason, any topic about resources available to you in the community, if you have questions about things like crime, graffiti, potholes, food share, rent assistance, energy assistance, and so on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, our staff is available for you. You can access our staff by calling our phone number at 414-672-8090. You can also contact us by email at soc@socmilwaukee.org. And you can visit our website at www.socmilwaukee.org. Okay. In addition to that, please do not forget to fill out our survey. We will put a link to our survey in our comments. So please click on that when you get an opportunity. And fill out our survey. This is how we use the survey to be able to make changes and improve our show and better serve our audience. So please fill out our survey. In addition, all SOC staff is working virtually from home, and this is why you see me without a mask on at this time. But I'd like to show you guys this really cool mask. Pretty cool, colorful. This mask was created by our special guest today, David Najib Kasir, who we will be talking to in a little bit. So everyone, let us know who is here today. Say hi, put a comment in the comment box on our Facebook page, and let's have a conversation. Let us know what you're thinking. And then a quick disclaimer. The views and opinions shared here today do not necessarily reflect those of SOC or their funders. And so let's do some announcements that's about the week coming up. First of all, today is Civic Day. It's a little bit different today than other civic forums. As you can see, I'm not Gabe. Gabe has very graciously given the forum over to me today so we can speak about one of the most powerful tools utilized in social justice and civic movements, and that is the voice of the independent artist. We haven't determined what we're doing tomorrow. It is to be determined. On Wednesday, we have Spanish Language Day with Tammy Rivera. On Thursday, we have Janan Najib, CEO and president of Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition, and he will be speaking with our moderator, Marlene Saran. And then on Friday, we have some critical updates with Tammy. We'll be talking about law enforcement, police discipline. We'll have a guest from the DOJ, Nelson Solder, and the DA, John Chisholm. So that's pretty huge. And we'll also have a follow-up from the FBI. From Kevin Bergeron. So it's a follow-up on hate crime. So please tune in. We have some really good stuff coming up this week. So next, allow me to introduce our special guest, He's a Milwaukee artist. His name is David Najib Kasir. David is an Syrian American artist working in Milwaukee. You may be familiar with his work around Milwaukee. In addition to making drawings and paintings, exhibiting in galleries nationally and museums nationally and internationally, David is also a muralist. So you've probably seen his work around town. One of the murals that stands out in my mind is in the Black Alley Cat project right off of North Avenue in Idaho on the Milwaukee's east side. So hi, David.
Hello.
How's it going today?
Good.
Nice. I'm so happy that you're here. I just so you know, I love your artwork. I love that I can see your artwork behind you. The newspaper box back there, and with all that blue, it's just amazing. It reminds me of with the mosaic style with the blue. What is that? Lapis lazuli. It's one of my favorite stones. So I remember first seeing your artwork at the River West filling station in River West. It's a really cool restaurant owned by Brian Atinsky. And so when I saw your work, I was like, yes, check out this work. Finally, some work that is not afraid to speak and have a political voice, which is sometimes a little bit rare, I think, in Milwaukee, or it was at the time. You know, it seems like sometimes art is a way to escape from reality. So it's really, I think it takes a lot of courage, took a lot of courage for you to make some art that speaks about important issues. So thank you for doing that. So so we were just talking about the Black Alley Cat, and I was able to find some really cool images on the internet that show this really cool thing that you're doing here. So can you tell me a little bit about what we're seeing here? It looks like you right there, and you're holding a
that was just a rough drawing of what was going to be on that wall for the mural. At that time, I think when Black Cat Alley first happened, like I think it was like 3 years ago, maybe, or 3 or 4 years ago. I think the person who's in charge of that, Stacy Williams, was coordinating the whole thing, and I didn't know that it was happening at the time. I had a friend who was making a mural, and so I sought Stacy out right away, and I told her I wanted to be involved. Next time around, or as soon as possible. I wanted to get something on one of those walls. And Stacy kind of knew of my work, or became familiar with my work, and around 2 years ago or so, she saw. I mean, we were aware of what was happening politically, revolving around refugees and immigrants, and Stacy, I think emailed me or contacted me and just said, I think it's time to we get one of those pieces up on that wall to sort of make a statement for the times.
Okay, awesome. I also have another picture that we can see kind of the finished product. I really like this picture here. It's kind of an angle, and like the space around it is kind of gray, so you can really see the amazing colors. I like that thing that is written in the bottom there. Can you explain to us what it says down in the corner?
Yeah, I mean it's all about, the piece is all about refugees and pretty much what's happening in Syria, and it's I mean it talks about immigrants as a whole in general, but I wanted to acknowledge the immigrant that means the most to me, being my mother. So I dedicated the piece to Lucy, my mom, my favorite immigrant.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So you've also done other mural work. You were part of a Black Lives Street mural. in Chicago?
In Uptown. I'm going to be doing a mural on a wall over there in Uptown within the next couple of weeks, and the person who organizes that sort of art gallery of murals over there was putting something together in response for Black uh, Lives Matter, and he asked me to be one of the artists, and I was happy to do that, and I did the letter K. I thought that was appropriate since K for my last name, Kasir.
Right.
But I wanted to incorporate Arab designs on my letters, so sort of representing the, just the brown people from in the Arab culture in that fight also.
Okay, so it incorporates some of like some of the Arabic styles of the pattern making. What is that called? Does that have a name?
Yeah, it's called Zalige patterns, or they're like Zalige designs. You can kind of sort of find those designs on furniture in the Middle East, in places like Syria and Iraq, and so, but you can find them on furniture. Um, you can find them on like game boards and chess pieces or jewelry boxes, mirrors. Buildings, clothing. Yeah, when I was there in Syria the last time, I was kind of really hit in the head, like struck by how amazing and intricate these designs were, and how small they were.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So have another really cool image of you right here. I love that you're sitting on top of this newspaper box. I think it shows a lot about your really great sense of humor, by the way, because you have a great sense of humor.
I'm goofy, yeah.
So it looks like this piece that we're looking at right now is also behind you. So it looks like you've made some progress with.
Yeah. So let me go the other way here.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, it's getting there. I should be done within the next couple of days here, within a day or so.
Okay.
But this is Milwaukee project, where it'll be containing the magazine for This is Milwaukee, but it's also going to be like a bit of a political sort of get out the vote sort of statement for the city, and I'm trying to. I believe this one's going to be out in City Hall.
Oh, cool.
Outside of City Hall.
Okay, and I think I also found. I'm not sure if this is a detail here.
Yeah, that's looking directly right there. It's not, still got a little bit more work to do, but yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of taping. It's a lot of getting the edges right. It could be exhausting. I did not actually plan. I didn't think this one was going to take me this long. I kind of thought it was only going to be a week's work, but it's. I think I'm entering the third week here now.
A lot of masking tape.
A lot of masking tape. Yeah.
And I told you that I'd help you out with that too if you needed help. So let me know.
Yeah, come over now.
After the show, I'll come over. So it looks like there's like a pair of hands right here.
Yeah, those hands will be outlined once I'm ready. Once I get to that point. But yeah, one thing I like to do is sort of incorporate images with the designs. This kind of design is more of the mosaic designs that you can find in places like you find them all over in the Middle East, but they're really prominent in somewhere like Morocco. Um, I just thought, they're the way they're put together, and I just sort of wanted to do my thing of where I use images with the designs to sort of hit a viewer over the head with it.
Okay. Very cool. And then it almost looked like the hands are in prayer. Is there any significance to that?
Well, there were a couple of images I was kind of going over and what to use. But I felt like this project was talking about what democracy is. And at a time where democracy feels like it's fleeting and it's just kind of a scary moment for all of us, I kind of wanted it, you know, I wanted to, it was sort of my way of praying that it still exists, that we're gonna still have our rights and freedoms after all this chaos.
Yeah. Keep your hands, pray for it. Cool. So basically, you're a national artist. You show in Chicago. But so tell us a little bit about your connection to the South Side.
Well, I originally moved to Milwaukee back in '98 to go to school at MyEd,
Okay.
and I think I would move back and forth between Chicago and Milwaukee from time to time, and then I think in 2006 or so, I moved. I moved in Walker's, like the south side of Walker's Point area, and I was there for a number of years, up until maybe 4 years ago, where I moved to Whitefish Bay, or 5 years. I don't even know how long ago that was now, 4 or 5 years. But I've been, as active as I could be in the city or in the South Side, and yeah.
And what about in your studio?
Oh
VAR is
yeah,
also located.
my studio is located in Walker's Point. Right now, I'm near Fifth and National, where Bar West Gallery is. So yeah, I I love it here. I love the neighborhood. I love the community, and what it's been happening over here. And it's been a little rough seeing it not as lively as it was when there used to be more life outside. But I love this neighborhood, and I couldn't be happier having a studio here, actually.
Yeah, I had a studio right down the street from you on 6th and Pierce. That building is now gone, unfortunately, but it was that neighborhood's been, there's so much going on. It's been growing for a long time with businesses, and just it's very lively.
Right.
The food's
I feel like
great.
it got better since you've been gone.
Well, that's probably what, put it over the hump is probably
Right.
I'm thinking. So I think another connection that you have that comes to mind is is the fact that you have an immigrant experience. As you probably know, Milwaukee Southside has one of the largest populations of people who have an immigrant experience here in Milwaukee or here in Wisconsin. Probably the largest, I would imagine, although I don't know that for sure. But so the immigrant experience is really near and dear to the people of the South Side. Can you tell us a little bit about your own personal immigrant experience?
I'm sure being here in Milwaukee has sort of awakened me to my own immigrant experience in myself. Um, it's a strange thing. I think, growing up, I didn't pay attention to it, because my sisters and I were just so busy trying to be like everybody else, trying to sort of hide our own immigrant, narrative or stories. I grew up at a time where being Arab wasn't popular. It wasn't something that you necessarily like let others know that you were Arab or where your parents came from. My father being Iraqi during the first uh, the first Gulf War, I remember being told not to tell children at school or other people, just for our own safety. And so I think we really kind of stuck to that narrative, try to fit in, assimilate as Americans. Or, I mean, we're light skinned Arabs, so we can. I'm fully aware that I can, sort of pass off as white, or some people thought I was Italian, or some people thought I was South American, but when I was young, we would not tell people that we were Arabs or we were from the Middle East.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. I'm also an immigrant. Well, you're actually a first generation American, right?
Right. I was born here. Then we moved soon after I was born. Though we did move to Syria for a couple years, and then around the time where I would have started school, we moved back here. Um, and I think Arabic being my first language.
Okay.
I mean, having foreign parents uh, doesn't exactly fit you in right away to in the school systems. I think even if we didn't have that early Syrian experience when I was a kid, because all my parents knew how to speak was Arabic. Now that's what I spoke at first.
Okay. So you got to wonder what kind of resources did they have when you were a kid in your school to help you learn English? I know that when I was growing up, Spanish was my first language. As I grew up in Guatemala, um, but when we moved here, I mean, we didn't have a lot of resources as far as learning how to speak English. So how did you pick up English so quickly, or did you?
Um,
Or how was that experience?
I've joked around with people saying, and I believe it to be sort of true. I think I've learned more English by watching The Karate Kid or Ghostbusters as a kid.
Yeah.
Certain cartoons when I was a kid. I think I learned more learning how to speak English uh, from that, or especially the old Batman Adam West TV show, than I did from school. I don't think the school system knew how to handle us. They weren't. We were the only Arabs in that area. Um, I think they were kind of getting a handle what to do with any sort of like Mexican or Latin families or children, and how to work with them. They didn't know how to communicate with us. Um, we were um, I think our educational our education was hurt by them not knowing. I think it probably built insecurities into us as students, as that we had to get rid of as we got older.
I think you and I have similar experience as far as learning English. I know that I learned English a lot from my friends more than I did from school and from
Right. I should have
watching
also mentioned
TV.
friends. Right.
Right. Um, And yeah, you're right. When I moved here, there was nothing in place to help people. I mean, there weren't a lot of Latino and Hispanics in Milwaukee at the time when we moved here. So yeah, it was a little rough, like maybe a little bit of bullying too happened here
Oh
and
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
that's
I mean,
probably why I became an artist, I think, actually, is
sure. I
because
mean, when we first, I mean, we're talking like the early '80s, so we're still, the country's still fresh off of what the relationship were with other countries like Iran, and even though we weren't from Iran, Americans didn't know the difference, they, everybody was sort of alike to them. So, I mean, I remember we were in a neighborhood where I think, I mean, we were in sort of like a Jewish neighborhood too, where I think they were sort of suspicious of us.
oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I remember. I mean, my dad drove a cab, and we would be in a neighborhood where uh, they didn't want my father to park his car in the driveways so it could be seen because they thought that devalued their homes.
Wow, holy cow. I know we had a lot of fun too with the food when we were kids. A lot of kids didn't know what black beans were or guacamole. I'm sure you guys had some similar experiences with Syrian food.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Actually, I was just telling my daughter not long ago. I didn't discover Mexican food until I was 14 or something like that, 13. I remember yelling at my mom because I love tacos so much, and I'm like, why am I just finding this out now?
Funny.
Well, all we
So,
did is eat Arab food, and what we thought
yeah.
was American food was like a hamburger or
So, what kind
uh,
of stuff do they eat in Syria? What was your favorite thing that your mom made?
um. I mean, to this day, my mom knows I'm all about chicken kebabs that she
Ooh.
makes, and I'm all about her dolma, those sort of the grape leaves that
Oh yeah.
what you guys call. Um, my mom makes them. My mom's a great cook, and even though it's funny because I appreciate it a lot more now than I did then, and even now my daughters. Unfortunately, I don't. I'm not a great cook, um, and my daughters are learning from my mom how to sort of take up that Arab tradition.
Awesome. That sounds great. Okay, so let's move on a little bit here. I love your stories. I love your immigrant experience just because I can relate to you. So your art, it has a really powerful voice. Can you tell me or tell us a little bit about how you feel about social justice?
Um, I think I think because I am uh, with my immigrant minority background. Uh, there are sides taken kind of thing, and I've seen how uh, people I've seen how Arabs are treated in this, especially after, during the Gulf War or after 9/11. Um, and there was a time where even I had to be a part of uh, sort of that injustice. Of I was uh, I was questioned whether I was a terrorist by the FBI at one point, and so those kind of situations have an impact on you, and um, it just sort of makes you more aware of everything that's going on, and you want to keep your rights safe, and the people around you safe, and I've just sort of become more aware of of how Arabs are treated or looked at. And so my work has become sort of a part of that discussion. The idea of changing a narrative of how Americans see us, um, you know, as people and citizens. Changing, I mean, I think in the 90s, in pop culture, all you ever did when somebody needed a bad guy, that bad guy would always be Arab, and sort of being very stereotypical. And I think I've made it a thing where I try to have my work fight against that. Okay. And I mean, even after I remember dealing with the police officer when I was getting questioned whether I was a terrorist or not. He obviously had that stereotypical idea of who I was supposed to be to him. And so, yeah, I mean that's never left my thinking when I make these pieces. It's sort of my resist and fight against that mentality.
To break the mold of the stereotype and to kind of show, speak a little bit about what the real experience is like versus right. Sort of like the experience that is a preconceived idea that our culture has.
Right, and it's changing the narrative. I mean, with that mural that you showed earlier, the purpose is for somebody to look at that figure, or a mother to look at that figure and understand that mother's journey. Sort of have an idea of like, I would do that with my kid. I would carry my child for hundreds of miles, just as that mother is carrying, just as that refugee mother is carrying hers. So it's sort of trying to build an understanding between the cultures.
Yeah, the mother experience is universal with every single culture.
Right. Or just a parenting, right?
Yeah, and parenting. But the mother and child's relationship seems to be even more closer. I could be wrong though about that, but more tender.
Right.
So, in addition to some of the social justice, what are some other issues that are close to your heart?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, what are some of the other issues that are close to your heart as far as social justice?
I mean, right now I'm I'm fully involved with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I've sort of said that Arabs and maybe some other minorities might have to sort of wait in line to for certain justices until we can get some sort of racial equality with the African American and Black people of this country, because it's just it's just so much more obvious at this moment. So right now I can only be sort of like the Robin in that discussion, the sidekick to helping support that the fight against the systemic racism and all the just the terrible things that we're seeing right now. There's just so much coded language in racism that we see politically that we're just ignoring and normalizing, that I just lose my mind at. I think what I try to do now is I try to and just try to be as loud as I can, call it all out, whether it's personally or through my work.
Mm-hmm. I think right now we really have to support BLM as a way to pave the way for the future justice in our
Right,
country.
right. I mean, I mean, you know, it's racism in this country is such a presence. You know, I kind of get disappointed in myself for uh, kind of ignoring to a certain degree when I was younger. Uh, um, and you know, I just I think about, you know, all minorities in general, you know, and what we have to fight against. Because you know, they always put you in some sort of box, and we can't, with the Black Lives Matter movement, we can't. You have to go at the biggest domino before we can go towards all the other ones that are you, me, you know, and everyone else. And right now, I see the black um, plight being the biggest domino right now that we need to help them knock it down.
Definitely. And I hear you too. I think there's a lot of sort of like cloaked racism and racism that we're not even aware of just because of some of the privilege that we have. And so sometimes I do think that people don't even realize that what they're doing may be steeped in some kind of racism. And I don't think it's necessarily racism to be racist. It's just people sometimes are unaware. Um, but so, so okay, so now let's talk a little bit about some of your artwork. I am going to share some images, and if I know your work well enough, I think this is one of the earlier images right here that you have. So we'll start from like early to, then we'll get to the new stuff.
Actually, this is a newer piece that
Oh, is it?
yeah, yeah. But this is how my work actually started off. That this looks similar to my work and how I started off in this sort of direction. But this was a piece that I did during quarantine. During quarantine, I just sort of went. I went all out in the studio just because the studio is all I had. Not to, you know, sort of drive me mad with the way we were all in solitude. Um, so this was probably maybe the second piece I made during that. And it was sort of me going back to where it started, where I would use those mosaic designs on panels. But this is in these pieces though, differences I would use transferred images. So instead of painting the images on within caustic paint, if you look at these, if you look at those images in the middle of each piece, those are photo transfers, and it was a technique I first used for my 30 30 show in at Bard Gallery.
Okay. So, and this one I think is one of your newest pieces right here.
Yes, this is something that I kind of want to make more of. This is actually a piece that it all started off from. Actually, I started this piece 7 or 8 years ago, where I painted the building, and then I sort of wanted to use the actual Zalige pieces. I wanted to sort of collage them onto that piece. And I had a guy Syria at the time, a family friend who would send me pieces. But at that time, he wasn't able to send me a lot because it was really dangerous. And I just sort of, you know, I think I just got really frustrated and sort of, I think I just threw a bunch of terrible paint on that painting and then, put it off to the side, never touching it for years. And I remember I had my studio mate at the time would just tell me, well, just paint the designs yourself. And at the time, I was more like the paint. I'm more of a kind of painter that you see where, like, if you look at that building, that's more of the way I sort of paint. So more like loose and gestural and more about making linear formations and stuff. So I wasn't a really detailed painter, and I knew if I was going to make the designs myself, that would take a lot of work, and I don't. It's just not my language. And I think it took me some time to finally give in and start painting those designs. Uh, and if you look at my earlier work, you can see how, like, you know, they get tighter and tighter and tighter with each piece. Where I start to perfect it a little bit more. And then with this piece over here, uh, I had that piece like sort of put it at the side, and I think during quarantine I was taking a nap on my couch over here, and I saw that piece, and it was kind of just staring at me, and I was staring back at it, and I kind of thought, like, I think I think now that I have a better sense of my language using these designs, I could take that painting and make it something again. And that's what I ended up doing. I really enjoyed the result. And
I love the contrast of the two different styles.
yeah, I mean,
So let's move on to some.
okay.
We're gonna have to kind of go through these real quick, just because they're really amazing paintings. I want everybody to see them, but we are kind of a little bit over our time here. So,
Sorry to talk.
and these newer pieces that you've created, I think they're called missing and subtraction. I just love the color in these, and the pattern is just amazing. So I just want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to see these real quick. This one is so powerful, like a brother and his a couple brothers, playing, being together. I think it's beautiful. It could be a different story, but
Actually, that's a refugee brother carrying his sister
Mm,
through
oh wow,
through the migration.
wow, that's beautiful. Um, I love this one. The symmetry of it is amazing. The color contrast of the cool and warm colors is really really awesome. Um, and then this one is kind of like a mother figure.
Hmm.
And I love the way it goes from hot to cold like that. That's just it's beautiful work. The color is just amazing. Um, so, anyways, with that, I just want to thank you for being here with us today. Um, it's been awesome talking to you. And I hope that we can get you on again. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about some of the newer stuff that you're doing. And so yeah, we hope to see you again soon.
Well,
Okay?
thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you, Dave. And we will talk later. Okay. So that ran a little bit long. Sorry about that, guys, but man, I love his work. So we are now going to talk a little bit about we are going to we're going to engage our audience. So let's look at comments that people have made. So Where are the comments people have made? Sorry about that, guys. The comments, here we go. Okay, we gotta go way back here. Who's all here? Oh, Marisol says cool mask. I agree, that's a pretty sweet mask. Maria de Jesus says hola, hola. Tina Robinson, she says talented, and I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Marisol. She says such beautiful tributes. David, your paintings are awesome. Drea says, love you, made that for this is Milwaukee. Thank you, Drea. And Mari Cano has given us an emoji for clapping. And Marlene says, same David, I grew up the same way. So Marlene is Palestinian, and she grew up the same way as David. Grew up, experienced some discrimination, especially after 9/11, racial slurs. So she feels it, she understands it. And then, all right, so let's move on to the next segment, which is coronavirus updates. So can we play the coronavirus update?
Hi, I'm Maritza and I work at Walker's Point Community Clinic. I'm a medical assistant and community health worker, and I want to show you how to wear your mask properly. This is really important so that when you cough or sneeze, particles don't come out of your mask through your nose or through your mouth, and it protects you from other people's particles. So first, whenever you're about to put a mask on, you're gonna sanitize your hands or wash your hands before you even put on the mask. You're gonna get in all those little crevices in your nails. Don't forget about the thumb and your wrists. And then you're gonna take your mask, and there's gonna be a part, often there's a part that has a little ridge for the nose. And you're gonna grab it by the strings and place the mask on your face. Notice how the bottom is covering my chin? That's good. Notice how the top is covering my nose? Also good. If there's a part in your mask that has a little plastic part, press that down. This helps to make sure that air can't get through there. And that's it. Later on, after I do my shopping or whatever it is that I'm doing, and I want to take off my mask, I'm also going to sanitize. I'm going to clean my hands, because who knows what I touched. I'm going to grab my mask by the strings and take it off like this. This is how not to wear a mask. Wrong. Nose out, also wrong. Hanging out on the chin, not great either. Doesn't really do its thing, doesn't do its job. So we want to make sure that our entire mouth and nose is covered by the mask. And there you have it.
All right, and so next we are going to check out our civic update. We have a video.
Hey everyone. So over the past few months, I know a lot of you have gotten messages from SOC staff that take you to a messenger bot called Project Pulso. And they've been about various topics, but the latest one has been about the census. So I just want to take a couple minutes to show you how to use and interact with this messenger bot, and then more importantly, how you can share it with your friends and family and contacts on Facebook, because that's our biggest ask, is that you all share this with your contacts so that everyone is filling out the census. I'm sure the majority of people that are listening to this right now have already filled it out, but this would be your opportunity to share this with other people so that people you know are filling out the census. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen for all of you to see what it looks like. So you would get something that looks like this in your inbox from one of the SOC staff. In this case, it was Marisol that sent it to us, who's our communications manager. And the most important thing to keep in mind here is that you have to hit get started before you share it out. So I know it's confusing. The image has that blue square that says share with the arrow to the little triangle on the right side of the message blurb. But what you have to do is hit get started. So once you hit get started, it will take you to a conversation with Project Pulso, and it will send out all of the different text messages that have the information we're trying to get you all to read. So in this case, it's about the census, like I said. Hey, it's Gabe Charles from the Southside Organizing Center. Some information about the census and how crucial it is, especially for hospitals and public schools, how it determines funding for the next decade. Then you see the image. And then what it's going to do is ask you that if you haven't already, go to this link to complete the census. So in this case, if you have not completed the census, you would hit complete census, or you would hit that link that's already in the message. But most of you have probably already done the census. So we're going to hit census already done. So census is already done. It's going to say thank you for doing your part. And then it's going to ask you to share this out to people. And this is where we really need all of you. So you'll hit yes, I will share. And then it's going to send you what you will send to other people. This is where you will hit the share button on the right side so that you can share it out to your contacts. So it's really, the most important thing is that you're hitting get started and that you're sharing it from the conversation with Project Pulso and not from the conversation with whoever sent you the initial bot, right? So just make sure that it says Project Pulso on top when you're hitting the little share triangle on the right side. And then it's going to just take you to a list of your contacts, your Facebook friends, and you can just send it out to people to ask them to fill out the census. And if you are willing to then explain to them to make sure they hit get started, so then they can send it out to their contacts and just create a network of people receiving this message so that we can get this important information out to people. We know that there is still a very low percent of responses for the census on the South Side and the district that SOC serves. So we really want to get this out there in the last couple weeks, not even 2 weeks, just about 12 days left that we have to fill out the census. So please, please be willing to share this out. Let us know if you have any questions about it, if you have any issues with it. Sometimes it only allows you to share with 5 people at a time, but if you just go through the process again, you can share to another 5 people. But again, please let us know if you have any questions. We are here to answer them and are thankful to anyone willing to share this out. So I also just want to take a second and share with you the meetings that are coming up this week. Today we had 2 meetings at 1:30 p.m. We had the Judiciary and Legislation Committee meeting and a City Plan Commission meeting. Then tomorrow at 8:45 in the morning, we have the Licenses Committee meeting. And right after at 9 a.m., we have the Common Council meeting. Also tomorrow at 4:30, we have the Fire and Police Commission ACLU subcommittee meeting. And at 5:30 right after, we have the FPC Complaints and Discipline Committee meeting. And then moving on to Wednesday, we have the Community Collaborative Commission meeting at 10 a.m. And then 2 p.m. later that day on Wednesday is the City County Task Force on Climate and Economic Equity. And then after that, on Thursday at 2 p.m. is the Ethics Board meeting, and at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday is the FPC Policies and Standards Committee meeting. So lots going on this week, lots to tune into, and we will give updates that come out of those meetings after they occur. And now I just want to share with you all an update that we have from Pua Vang from the Census Bureau.
All right, so let's watch the video for Pua Vang. If we could put that video up, please. Okay. All right. So I don't think we can find the video from Pua Veng right now. So let's just keep on going. Let's do some viewer engagement. So whoever is watching our show right now, let's put something in the comments. Say hello. If you guys have any questions, how about if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. And then we can get back to you with some answers. So please feel free to ask us anything that you would like. And we also have a video, a promo video that we'd like to show you about the survey. So,
has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take a quick survey that's located in the comments section so that we can keep 3 o'clock with SOC going for residents. Thank you for tuning in.
All right, thank you for playing that video for us. And now let's just do some reminders of what's coming up in this week. Wednesday, we have Spanish language with Tammy Rivera. Thursday, we have Najib, the CEO and president of the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition, and he will be speaking with Marlene Zahan. And then on Friday, we have some critical updates from Tammy. We have a law enforcement and police discipline update. We also have a guest from the DOJ, FPC, Nelson Solder, and the DA, John Chisholm, which is a really awesome guest. And we also have Kevin Bergeron from the FBI. And we will be following up on the latest on hate crimes. So please join us the rest of this week to check out this really cool stuff. And then, so now we would like to thank our funders and partners. And thank you for funding us, and thank you. And let's watch a video, the kids giving a thank you.
I'm Juan. And I'm Mitzi. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock with SOC live show.
And for completing our SOC survey.
In addition to thanking our residents and tuning in and sharing our show.
We would also like to thank our sponsors.
Catholic Campaign for Human Development.
Wisconsin Voices.
City Development Block Grant.
Zebler Foundation.
City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention.
Movement Voter Project. Tide Foundation.
City of Milwaukee Promise Zone.
12th District Alderman Jose Perez.
All the faithful individuals who support SOC
through their personal donations.
Thank you.